coconut.
Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well today. So it's actually Sunday evening, which is not my normal filming time, but I wanted to start on a dress sewing project tonight, and so I thought I would share it with you. I've got Coconut here chilling on the couch with me, and I'm having a little bit of coffee, even though it's kind of late in the day, and I'm very excited about this project. So let me tell you about it. I have recently been getting really into looking at the DOEN website and all of their gorgeous dresses, and they're definitely out of my price point, but they're so beautiful, and a lot of them look really similar to 1930s nightgown styles. And so I went on the Lady Marlowe website, which does reproductions of vintage patterns, and I found a 1930s nightgown pattern that I thought would work perfectly for kind of a DOEN-inspired dress. And I have a really beautiful flowy fabric to work with today that I'm going to show you, and I'm so excited to get started. I will link to all of the pattern specifics down below in case you're curious to check it out. And the fabric that I'm going to be using today is this stunning Rifle Paper Company rayon challis print, which is so flowy and beautiful, and the skirt is cut on the bias, so it should have a really nice drape, but let's see how I do with that, because if you know me, you know the bias is always a little bit tricky for me, but I'm very excited to give this a try. Rifle Paper Company kindly sent me this fabric, and it is absolutely gorgeous, and I cannot wait to make something that I can wear out of it. And I do feel like this is going to be so beautiful to transition into the fall as well with this particular print. This is their roses print. It is so pretty, and they have this in a few colorways in the rayon as well, so I'll link to that down below, of course. But I'm very excited to work on this project. So the pattern does not look too complicated, but I think it just needs to be really simple, clean sewing. So we'll kind of see how it goes and how far I get this evening. But I think that's it. Do you want to watch while I sew? You want to watch while I sew, or you just want to chill here on the couch? This is one of her favorite places to nap now, so she's kind of wondering why I'm sitting here bothering her. But I'm very excited to work on this project, so let's go ahead and get the sewing stuff set up so we can get started. So one thing I love about Lady Marlowe patterns is I can have the pattern guide up on my iPad, so I have this all ready to go. And I cut everything out last week, but I wanted to give you a look at what the actual layout of the pattern is. So we have two pieces for the bodice. The back is cut on the fold, and then the front is cut in two pieces with a little drawstring in the center. And then we have four pieces for the skirt, two of the front, two of the back. And then the sleeve looks like this. I am cutting the shorter length of the sleeve for the little flutter sleeve design, which you can see here. I really like the puff sleeve, but it takes a lot of fabric to do that. So we're going with the flare sleeve or the flutter sleeve just to save fabric. So I'm excited to see how this goes together. Let me see what the first step is. One thing I will say, when you work with vintage patterns, a lot of the instructions are very different to what you would see in modern patterns. So I typically do adapt these just to how I like to sew. So I think what I'm going to start with are the skirt panels, and there are 4 skirt panels. I'm just going to pin these together and stitch them together. I'm going to use French seams just because I love how that looks on this rayon fabric, and I'm going to give everything a good press as well. Okay, so the skirt is already pieced together. That was super simple to do because it's just a bunch of straight seams. So let me show you what it looks like now. So you have this pointed waist in the front, and then in the back it actually dips down, and the bodice piece is pointed in the back. I don't know if you can even see that because of the fabric, but I love the way it looks, and it just feels like it's going to be so fun and swishy and comfy to wear. So now I'm going to switch gears and start working on the bodice. So here's a look at the bodice front piece for this project, and this is where I'm going to make my first alteration to the pattern. It's very small, but this has eyelet holes designed to be stitched in the front for the drawstring that gathers up the front of the bust area. And I just don't love the idea of having eyelet holes on the front with stitching. So instead of that, I'm going to try and contain those in the seams. So what I'm going to do first is just stitch this center front seam and create the little casing on either side for the drawstring. Hopefully that will make sense as I start to stitch it. But basically, where the bodice front has this extended piece here, we are going to stitch a seam, and then this gets opened out, and that creates a casing on either side once it's top stitched on the front. So I'm going to start with that. I'm still trying to decide what I will use for the drawstring. I feel like velvet ribbon could be really pretty, but I haven't picked what I'm going to use just yet. Had quite the random thunderstorm come through, so it's very dark, even though it's not quite time for it to be fully dark yet. But anyway, this is what we're working with on the front so far. So I have the drawstring casing stitched into place just with that thick seam allowance here. And now we're ready to start putting all of the bodice pieces together. Because this has a raglan style sleeve, it looks a little bit different. So here's the top of the bodice back, and you can see it slopes down, and then it comes to this pretty little pointed detail at the waistline. So I have run some ease stitching just along the shoulder area here, and that's going to help us as we add the sleeves. So I'm going to start by pinning the sleeves to the back of the bodice. So the sleeves, again, an interesting shape. Let me show you. So this is the back armhole and then the front here, and it goes across the shoulder with that raglan shape. So I'm just going to start by pinning this together with wrong sides together so I can do French seams, and easing this to fit if I need to. Honestly, the pattern said it would need to be eased into place, but I don't really think it needs it. There's just a little bit of finessing where it curves. It's really storming now. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but here is where we are at. We've got the back and the sleeves attached. So now I'm just going to repeat this process to attach the front of the bodice to the sleeve. So it's the exact same thing, just doing this on the front side. I just stitched the side seams, and I'm very pleased because I oftentimes have a hard time matching up the underarm seam when I do French seams, and these turned out so well. Look at how well it's matched up. I'm very happy. Okay, I actually found some really pretty dark green velvet ribbon in my stash, and this looks really beautiful because it picks up on the darkest green here. The ribbon looks darker on camera than it does in real life, but the velvet has kind of almost an olive green tinge to it. Let's see if it'll show up. Yeah, it definitely looks darker on camera, but it has kind of an olive green tone to it. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to thread the ribbon from the top down and secure it with some stitches on the top. Then I can gather up the drawstring and tie it in a bow at the bottom. I really wasn't planning to get this far on this dress tonight, but I feel like it's already going so smoothly, I may as well go ahead and attach the skirt. Those feel like famous last words, though. It's probably going to have an error happen here in a second. One thing I love about working with vintage patterns is just getting to explore the way the clothes would have been made and all of the different design details and how people would have been expected to sew it together. I just find it very interesting. This is my second 1930s pattern that I've made, but I would really like to explore more of them. Now the pattern came with this shirring guide, and so we're supposed to gather the bodice up to be this distance. So I'm just going to go ahead and adjust it, and then I'm going to try it on and make sure I like the way it looks. And then I'll be very careful while I try this on since it does have pins in it. Okay, now remember what I was saying about something must go wrong here in a minute. I've just realized what I've done that is not going to make logical sense when I'm sewing the skirt to the bodice, because I have these raw edges here sticking out. So I think what is going to be a good solution is just to unpick a little bit of the casing stitching, and then I can fold this underneath on both sides so that that ribbon is going straight through. Yes, I think that's gonna work great. And then what I'm going to try is, as I come in and stitch the skirt on, I'm going to leave this part unstitched for now, and then I'll come back and do that by hand. So we're going to experiment a little bit, but I want to keep this to where it can just go right through and be adjustable. Okay, I tried it on and I want to give you kind of an idea of where we're at right now. And I feel like this pattern is going to become one of my favorites because it's so minimal as far as what you have to do. There's no darts, there's no gathers. It's very simple to sew together. I do think I might adjust the neckline to be just a touch lower because I feel like it's quite constrained, but I absolutely love the fit of the bias cut and I'm very excited about it. So I just have this kind of basted on the waistline, so I'll finish that up tomorrow. So I need to do the seam finishing on the waistline and then I'm just going to let this hang up so the bias can relax a little bit, but I am very happy with this for a couple hours work tonight. Okay, I really quickly just lowered the neckline a little bit and I think that does make a big difference to the overall effect of this dress. So this is where I'm stopping for tonight, but I'm really happy with my progress so far. All right, hi friends, it is the next day now. It's actually after work on Monday evening and my neighbors just decided to do yard work, so I apologize if you can hear that in the background, but I wanted to go ahead and get back to the dress project this evening. And honestly, there's not that much more to do. I went ahead and split the center seam just a little bit so that I can lower the neckline just a touch. I'm just going to lower the center point because it was kind of high on my collarbone and it just felt a little uncomfortable. So I'm going to lower this. And to finish the neckline, I'm just going to use bias tape and do a little bias binding. And then I need to hem the sleeves and hem the skirt, but that's really all there is to this project. So it's a very simple pattern, which I really, really love. So I'm excited to see how the full dress turns out. I was toying around a little bit with turning the sleeves into a puffed sleeve because I tried it on and I kind of liked the way that looked. But once I lowered the neckline, I felt like the flutter sleeves actually balanced perfectly. So I'm very pleased with where we're at so far. So let's get this finished up this evening. Okay, I just finished adding the bias to the neckline and I love the way this is sitting now. I think that's the perfect distance. Excuse the shoe on the fireplace. Coconut was trying to eat it, so I need to put it back in the closet. So now all we need to do are the sleeve hems and then the hem on the skirt. So almost done and I'm loving how it's looking so far. I do have this on over my jeans right now, so ignore the bulk. A good look, isn't it? Such a cute look. What do you think of the dress? Do you approve? Do you approve? All right, so the dress is done. I have run out of daylight, so I'm going to try it on and show you tomorrow. It's actually a bit later because my camera battery ran out of battery too, so I was charging it for a bit and I had some dinner. And I think for the rest of the evening, I'm just gonna have kind of a chilled evening. I went and got some ice cream because I really want some ice cream. So I'm going to get a little bowl of ice cream and watch a movie or some YouTube or something, and then tomorrow I will show you the finished dress, but I'm very excited about it. It's just so fun to see it hanging up here. I just want to leave it to look at. Right, here is the ice cream tutorial you did not ask for when you clicked on this video. This is one of my favorite types of ice cream to have, vanilla, and then I make a really quick chocolate sauce. Basically this is like DIY magic shell. And I don't know why, but it's just so good. So this is one of my favorite things, which I try not to do too often. But for the DIY magic shell, all you need are chocolate chips and some coconut oil or some butter that you can microwave and melt. And it's so, so delicious. So this is gonna be my little late night snack, and my friend Melody is helping me collect jadeite right now. And so I have this beautiful little jadeite bowl that she sent me. So very excited about that. friends, so here's a look at how the dress turned out. I am so happy with it. I thought it was really straightforward, to be honest, and pretty easy to work on. So I want to make it again, maybe with the puffy sleeve version. I didn't have quite enough fabric with this one, but I actually really love how the flutter sleeves look with this particular fabric, and this rayon challis is so perfect for this 1930s style. So I'm really glad that I had this to work with. Thank you, Rifle Paper Company, for the beautiful fabric. Yeah, I just love how it turned out, and I am excited to work with this pattern again in the future. I also realized that my Swiss watch that I got when I was in Switzerland last year matches so well with the fabric, so I'm going to have to wear these together for sure. All right, friends, that is going to be it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. This is one of my favorite projects that I've made this year so far, so it was so fun to share with you. I have 2 projects that I'm going to be working on the rest of the week, which I'm very excited to share soon. Many of you know, but July and August is when I have the most time in the year to work on videos, so I have been working on a lot, and I can't wait to share more with you soon, and I hope you'll look forward to that. If you would like to stay tuned for my future videos and you have not yet subscribed, you can do that now by clicking the button down below, and I would love to have you back for videos in the future. I try to do a lot of fun, cozy, crafty content here, so I'd love to have you back for my future videos. And if you're interested in becoming a member of my channel, you can do that by clicking join down below this video, and you'll find information about the Cozy Sewing Club, where we post a monthly project, and this past month was one of my favorites. It was a picnic themed video, and it was just so much fun. So I love seeing you guys over there, and thank you so much to those of you who are supporting me through the membership. I appreciate you all so much. I have some fun stuff in the works for that too, so can't wait to share more soon. But thank you so much for spending your time on my channel here today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you in a new video very soon. Bye!